Everyone, this is Susanna. I'm the founder of, and director of Moral Fairground. From the 26th to the 28th of October, we'll be hosting the Ethical Enterprise Conference as an online event this year. We've asked some of our speakers to give us an overview of what to expect at this year's event. And I'm very excited to have here today Campbell Rider, who will be delivering a workshop on day 2 of the conference titled Ethical Frameworks for Social Enterprise, Asking the Big Question. Now, that's a big topic, Campbell. Welcome.
Hi, great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
So at this year's event, we are representing the voices of many young people, and I consider you to be one of those young people, Campbell. So tell us about yourself and how such a young person is yourself developing interest in philosophy.
Right, well, so I'm 22. I'm a philosophy student at the University of Melbourne, where I'll be studying a PhD next year. So I classify as a young person, so I'm very familiar with all the sort of social and political problems that I'll have to deal with, and my generation will have to deal with. Climate change, environmental destruction are obviously the big ones on our mind, but this year the COVID pandemic has really affected young people and university students in a really clear and obvious way. I mean, as a young person today, I think it's really important to have a flexible skill set. And I think it's really important to have a skill set that lets you approach and tackle and interpret all those sorts of problems that we'll be dealing with well into the future. So for me, that's the appeal of philosophy, and that's what attracted me to it. It gives me this sort of, it's basically something that exercises your problem solving skills, and that gives me the sort of skill set I need to really be ready, job ready for the future, but also to really tackle those sorts of issues going forward.
Thank you. That's great. And we had some conversations in the past, and I know you're always very, very interesting. So tell me about your topic for this year's conference. Why is it key to reshaping the impact economy?
Right. So really, the idea is to, if we want to go back to square one and really rethink what we mean by the impact economy, we need to look at the word impact. We need to look at the word ethical in ethical enterprise, social in social enterprise, and really unpack what we mean by that and what we want to mean by that. So for me, the plan in this workshop is to look at moral philosophy and ethics, not as some set of rules or as a kind of professional code of conduct, but rather as a kind of discipline that looks at a dynamic field of problems and perspectives, where we can sort of rethink the meaning of all these moral terms that we use from day to day, so that we can tackle issues where what to do, what the answers are less clear cut. So we'll be looking at some classic views in moral philosophy, like utilitarianism. So some people might be familiar with that. That's all about maximizing impact. But I also want to look at the social contract tradition in philosophy, which is about sort of obligations to others, to our communities, to people around us. So we'll have a go at applying these perspectives to different contexts in social and ethical enterprise. And the plan is that participants will get some practice in using the vocabulary, using these frameworks to kind of tackle problems and see that the answers are never clear cut, but if you have the right tools, you can think them through in a sort of interesting and clear way.
It's going to be a really interesting one. Now, the theme of this year's conference is all about rethinking, resetting, rebooting. Any words of wisdom for our audience, and perhaps from a youth perspective or young person perspective?
Well, that's right. I mean, it's difficult to say, and it's difficult to be optimistic right now. Things are very difficult, and I think we've all been affected by the COVID-19 sort of experience. I think this year's affected young people in a really obvious way, and I'm someone who is of the view that young people should really be given a platform to sort of have their voices heard in those sorts of topics. So that, there was a debate recently in the paper about how the sort of lockdown and the quarantine measures have affected young people's lives really negatively, and whether how do we balance that? How do we balance the value of an old person's life against a young person's well-being? Questions like that, and those to me sort of they strike me as the kinds of ethical questions that I want to look at, and the kinds of ethical questions that can sort of be brought to bear on what the role of social enterprise is today. And for me, I think if we want to kind of tackle these issues, we need to go right back to the sort of foundations of ethics and morality, and think about those sort of problems from the ground up. So that would be my advice, and that's hopefully what we'll be looking at in the workshop.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Campbell. It's been a pleasure to have you. Now, for all our audience, don't forget to book your tickets. Go to moralfairground.com.au. The full program is there. You can check out Campbell's bio there and his topic as well. So thank you very much, Campbell.
Thank
and
you.
we'll see you at the conference.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.